Alright folks, this video we're going to compare the Aorus B660m Pro AX DDR4 to this here AsRock B660m Pro RS. So both of these are actually pretty decent motherboards. I'm not a big fan of AsRock, but you know, this one's a little better than the AsRock B660m HDV that we had. Alright, so let's talk about what's similar. DDR4 RAM, I think they go up to about the same speed, around 4800 megahertz. Of course, this is going to have a lot of the same features. A 24-pin power connector coming from your motherboard to power the motherboard. What we get differently between the two is for your CPU power. This AsRock only has a 1x8, where we have a 1x8 and a 1x4. Now, most CPUs is not going to matter, okay? But when we get to the i7, i9, it might just matter a little bit having those. And if you decide to put a unlocked CPU in here, that may be beneficial as well. When is it beneficial? Pretty much only when you're doing multi-core benchmarks, right? Multi-core gaming, maybe, but for the most part, you're not going to really see a big need for that extra 1x4. Now, as far as the PCIEs go, this guy, I believe, has two PCIe 4.0s. We'd have to double check that, and I don't know if the back of the box has it on there, folks. This guy only has one and then a 3.0, okay? So if we look at the back of the box, it may or may not say it. One 4.0 by 16. So I would assume the other one is a 3.0 as well. Now sometimes you can see it on the good old motherboard typed out, but it doesn't look like Gigabyte does that. Asus does. A couple of USB 2.0s, two here as well. Gonna have the same number of SATAs for, unless you get a Z690. You know, you see here the front panel connectors. They have that nice plastic enclosure around them, as well as labeling on the motherboard of what's what. Over here, we don't get that same nice setup, right? But they do at least label on the motherboard what's what. So, M.2s. This has a Gen 4 there, and I also believe this guy is Gen 4 as well. Where over here we have one. Oh, there's a spider in here. I gotta kill it. Too slow. Coming back over here. The back of this, you know, if you were at one of the stores buying this, you'd be disappointed. You would be on your phone trying to figure out what's what. Ethernet wise, 2.5 gig. So there's an improvement. This one is only 1 gig. Look at the heatsink, though, folks. This just spells quality. This, you know, so-so, right? At least it has them. Unlike the HDV and some of the other cheap ones. So, question is, really, is this one worth the money? That's the whole point of this video and why we're comparison. Well, one thing I love, folks, is built-in I/O shields. So this obviously has it, where this one you'd have to attach the I/O shield. Wi-Fi, right? That's pretty good. Now, if you have a big ass graphics card like this, and you wanted to add a PCIe Wi-Fi card, it's going to be right up there. So if you have to have Wi-Fi, that alone, folks, is probably going to be worth the 60 bucks. This also assumes that, hey, I have to go micro ATX and I want a big fat graphics card like that one. So there's another thing to look at. Now for audio connectors, nothing really great over here on this except for the fact that it does have the fiber optic out, right? So if you wanted to hook this up to a stereo, it'd be pretty killer. Type C Charlie connector, if that's something you have to have, boom, this one's got it, right? And it's also allows you to have one on the case. Now this guy, if you have it on your case, you're good. You can also have USB 3.0 on your case. So a lot of similarities. They're going to both support 12th and 13th gen right now. This is the Intel RH1 laminar CPU cooler, in case you guys are like, oh man, I wish I could get one of those. Well, go buy an i9 12900, 12900F, you'll get one. Or maybe you'll see one on eBay. I might put that on eBay one of these days. Yeah, Wi-Fi is the big thing on this, folks. It has its own USB for the BIOS. It's basically, you know, we've got the same HDMI display port. So if you're going to run integrated graphics, no graphics card, those are two that you definitely want to have. But overall, I would trust this motherboard a lot more to running a good i7, i9 than this one, right? Now, I haven't looked at the BIOS to tell you really, hey, does this have anything extra special in it? That's a good question. Overall, though, folks, if you can get this for 40, 50 bucks more than this, it's worth it. If this motherboard costs 100 bucks more, which I can't even remember how much more it costs, I'm pretty sure it is much more expensive. Oh look, hey, that spider came back. So for whatever reason, we have a lot more bugs in the basement right now. So I'm gonna have to get out and spray. This guy, he's history. I'm not gonna show you what happens to him. He disappeared. So yeah, I'm pretty partial to this. It is very well built. You know, for 120, this was not a bad motherboard. But this has just that much better aesthetics to it. It seems better built. You know, you see most of the connectors have a plastic shroud around them. That just seems like a better thing, right? Like it's going to be safer. So we'll leave with a couple more parting shots. DDR4 RAM. As both of these have addressable RGB. A lot of similarities. You know, this is Aorus's Gigabyte's high-end stuff. So AsRock I don't think has high-end. They can put Pro on it all day, but I don't think it ever gets high-end. Hey, thanks for checking out the video. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.